announcing that they're going to do the full takeover of Gaza. Now, we covered this a couple of days ago when the Israeli government started to say, on Twitter and in official statements that they're going to invade, fully take over Gaza, like the final solution, final nail in the coffin, extermination of the Palestinians or relocation of the survivors. But now he's doing a piece on Fox. And as we all know, Fox News is the propaganda arm of the Trump regime. They're not real journalists. They get scripts and talking points handed to them straight from the executive branch. And it's because Donald Trump doesn't really read. He watches Fox News, and that's how he consumes his information. And he only wants to live in this echo chamber where he comes up with an idea, he says it, Fox News repeats it back into him and says, look, it's such a good idea, so you're doing so good, so you're doing so good. So we're going to watch this. It's going to be difficult to watch. I've watched the first 60 seconds of it, and it's just we're talking about the actual modern embodiment of Adolf Hitler announcing that he's going to kill all the Jews, essentially. But in the modern form. So it's Benjamin Netanyahu announcing that, we're going to fully conquer Gaza, we're going to kill all the remaining survivors, and we're going to relocate anybody who wants to survive, but they're no longer allowed in their ancestral home. So, sad day, but we're going to watch this, and we're going to watch how propaganda Fox News and the Conservative Party and the GOP, the group of pedophiles, just comes to defend Israel. They come to defend any form of Israeli genocide.
To our audience at home, 2 hours ago, here in Jerusalem, I sat down with an exclusive interview with the Israeli Prime Minister. We talked for about 25 minutes on camera, right before a significant meeting is about to happen. As you know, the fate of the hostages is still out there. As you know, there are allegations against this government for genocide and starvation.
Yeah, allegations.
There are questions about his relationship with Donald Trump, even Vladimir Putin. Israel's long-term plans for Gaza and how they achieve a lasting peace is still an open question tonight.
A lasting
peace. We mentioned
peace.
We're almost 2 years into this war. This country's tired, but they're still fighting. Here
Dude,
now,
just the framing that this country's tired, but they're still fighting. They're Fox News is already off the bat, warming up, saying that Israel is the victim. They're trying to frame oh, poor little Israel is so tired of murdering fucking babies and sniping pregnant women and starving people to death. Poor little Israel is so tired. Am I supposed to fucking feel bad for this genocidal apartheid regime?
the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, on all those topics and more. Mr. Prime Minister.
All right, before we get in here, shameless plug. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Costs you nothing, helps me immensely. Also, if you don't know me, I'm Chris Valenti. Thank you for 80,000 subscribers. If you want to support real independent media like this, well, it's grassroots funded. So if you want to help me out, you can become a patron on Patreon. Huge shout out to the patrons paying $2, $5, $8 monthly. It's fucking fantastic. You can become a member here on YouTube. Thank you for the members for donating $5 a month. Love you. Hit the thanks button to donate to the channel. Buy some of the dope-ass new merch, including the Democratic Socialist poster down below, and use that 40% off discount code for Ground News Vantage subscription located down below. Without further ado, let's dive right in.
Thank you for your time today.
Well, glad to see you again.
Thank you. After this interview, you will go immediately into a meeting with your security cabinet. Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance.
Enable the population to be free of Gaza. What if they don't want to leave? What if it's their fucking ancestral home? Like, this is so ridiculous.
That is not Hamas and not anyone advocating the destruction of Israel. That's what we want to do. We want to liberate ourselves and liberate the people of Gaza.
I love how they talk about, like, advocating the destruction of Israel. Meanwhile, Israel isn't advocating the destruction of Gaza. Israel is actually doing it. Like, they are fulfilling it. They are living it up. They're actually destroying Gaza. It's like every fucking accusation is a fucking confession with these people.
From the awful terror of Hamas, and you were in the Gaza Strip today. You met Palestinians who are fighting Hamas because finally they see that they have a future. They can rid themselves of this.
Are you talking about the actual gangs that you, Benjamin Netanyahu, have paid within Gaza to steal the food? Because, like, there's been no conclusive evidence that Hamas has ever stolen any food. There has been conclusive evidence that Israel is paying gangs to steal the food before the Palestinians can get it. Like, brother, you're not slick.
Awful tyranny that not only holds our hostages, but holds 2 million Palestinians in Gaza hostage. That's got to end.
You are literally keeping those people hostage. You have control over the electricity, the water flow. You have control over everything, and you even shut it off. You guys are just flexing about turning back on the water, the desalination plant. You turned back on one desalination plant, and you're flexing like, look how good we are. That means you turned the rest of them off, motherfucker, or you bombed the rest of them. Did you guys know that Israel literally bombed every single hospital in Gaza? There's not one hospital left in Gaza.
Are you saying today that you will take control of the entire 26-mile Gaza Strip as it was 20 years ago to this month in 2005?
Well, we don't want to keep it. We want to have a security perimeter. We don't want to govern it. We don't want to be there as a governing body. We want to hand it over to Arab forces that will govern it properly without threatening us and giving Gazans a good life. That's not possible with Hamas. The only way that you're going to have a different future.
Hamas. It's always Hamas. It's not the Israeli bombs falling on your head. It's Hamas. It's not the IDF sniper who shot your pregnant grandmother. No. It's Hamas. It's not the food that is laced with opiates to kill the kids. No, it's Hamas.
To get rid of this neo-Nazi army. The Hamas are monsters. Look at what they're doing to our people. Look at what they're doing to the way they massacred, raped, beheaded.
They literally didn't behead anybody on October 7th. There hasn't been any conclusive evidence of that. There has, however, been conclusive evidence that Israel is literally beheading fucking children in Gaza. Again, this is why I say every accusation is a confession. There's also no conclusive evidence of mass rape. There was definitely rape committed on October 7th. But the only nation that's been committing mass rape in this entire fucking event is Israel, to the point where the Israelis literally had a pro-rape protest to get their IDF soldiers out of prison who were raping Palestinians.
And they are really cruel to their own people, because when we try to take them away from the combat zones, they shoot them. They want people to be civilian casualties. They want a starvation policy that they themselves are trying to put into being, and we're doing everything to reverse that. They have to go. I think President Trump has said it. You have to see two things in Gaza. You have to see Hamas eliminated, and you have to have the hostages released, and he's absolutely right.
There were 20 hostages that
we all know you don't care
are still alive. And in recent events, the closer the IDF got to them, many of them were killed. Are you prepared for that?
We're doing everything in our power to salvage
No, you're not.
the hostages.
You're not doing anything in your power to salvage the hostages, bro. Announcing a full conquest of Gaza is quite literally a death sentence for the hostages. That's what that is. You were saying that you don't care about the bargaining chip. You are still going to go through with it. Brother, the whole point of taking a hostage is to have some sort of negotiation, to have some sort of bargaining chip. And you clearly don't give a fuck, because every single ceasefire that has been proposed, you have violated it or rejected it.
We've, in the beginning, the second day of the war, I think, a senior command official in Israel said, you're going to have to get used to the idea that we're not going to see any of them alive.
Told you.
And I said, no, I don't agree with that.
Bullshit.
I think with a combination of the right military tactics and international pressure, we can get all of them, and certainly most of them, out.
You never
so far,
gave
we got
a fuck,
out of 255, we've got 205 released. 148 of them are alive. Nobody believed that. And I believe we can get the others, but we have to combine the right tactics, military tactics. Without military pressure,
dude, it's
nothing
all
works.
framed around the hostages, all framed around Israel being the victim.
He has two brothers.
Yes.
His family believes they are still alive. He said the following: my advice to you, speaking to the Prime Minister, by all means necessary, we need to bring them back for stability in the region, for the future of Israel. It's a tough decision, but we will handle everything, meaning Israel. What do you say to the families of the hostages?
That's exactly what we're trying to do. People say you can't both release the hostages and eliminate Hamas, and I disagree.
Nope,
I think so far
incorrect.
we've shown that we can, and I intend to complete the job. But we have three missions. One, to eliminate the Hamas as a governing and military power in Gaza. Otherwise, there's no future for anyone.
You can't win
We'll
a
have many
fucking
more
war against
kidnappings
insurgents, bro.
and
You're
many
so
more
stupid.
hostages. Second, achieve the liberation of all our hostages. And third,
Not gonna
make
happen.
sure that Gaza doesn't pose a threat to Israel again. And we're well on our way.
Then you shouldn't
to
have
achieve
stolen
all
their
three.
land and
Now, there are
murdered
difficulties
400,000
because there's
people.
so much vilification and misrepresentation in the press. There's an attempt to put blame on Israel for the interdiction of humanitarian supplies that Hamas is interdicting, and Israel is, the international community is delivering the blame to Israel. They're doing everything to rob these food trucks. They're
is so
taking the
fucked
food
up.
for themselves and then jacking up the price for the remaining
Mm-hmm.
supplies to their own population. That's monstrous.
That's a
have seen
bullshit
some of
fucking
that.
line.
And
Zero
you're
proof.
right about that. And you're also right that we went into Gaza while we've been here this week. And we were in the southern town of Rafah, near the Sinai Desert in Egypt. And that town has been flattened. And you have been accused of genocide. How do you respond to that?
Well, if
He's going to pull out anti-Semitism.
Ambassador Huckabee said, if we're practicing genocide, we're surely doing a very bad job of it, because we could have, basically eliminated the entire population of Gaza, but we went the other direction. We did something that no army in history ever did. We're supplying humanitarian food to the enemy's population, because we distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. We put in 2 million tons of food.
This is a
if we wanted to commit
bold-faced
genocide,
lie. These are
we need to
lies.
give 2 million tons of food to the population. And also, the reason you see the flattened buildings is because Hamas booby traps every single building.
Oh my
so when
God.
we come in, we first have the population moved, even though Hamas tries to keep them in the combat zones. But after they move, and we start to move into the
Who the fuck is buying this, bro? Yeah, no, bro, don't worry about it. The reason why all of the buildings are flattened, it's not because we've fucking bombed the ever-loving fuck out of them with drones and missiles and a AI targeting system called Where's Daddy. That's not it. No. All the buildings are destroyed because Hamas puts booby traps in the building. And then when we go in and we say, everybody needs to get out of here, it's not safe anymore, and we evacuate all the civilians and they all get out real peacefully and nobody gets hurt, then the buildings, they just start blowing up, and it's so strange. But there's no civilian casualties. We're doing the one thing that no army has ever done, which is we are giving food and medicine to the civilians, and then we're fucking murdering them, and we're starving babies, and we're sniping pregnant women. Go fuck yourself, Israel, you genocidal maniac nation.
neighborhoods that are now populated only by terrorists. They ignite these booby traps. So what we do is we put in an APC, an armored personnel carrier, with a lot of explosives, detonate it. It sets off all the booby traps, and the buildings begin to collapse as a result of that. They're empty buildings. They're not populated buildings. Secondly, they've built this underground terror tunnel network with billions of dollars that they had. They didn't build Gaza up. They built a Gaza terror city underground.
Oh, maybe that's because if you look around and you see what's above ground, everything's fucking destroyed. Almost like that tunnel was a great idea considering the fact that you're bombing the ever-loving fuck out of them. How are you gonna... They took the money and they built a tunnel when they could have built up Gaza. Now look at the pictures of destroyed Gaza. All of the money that they could have spent, they could have built buildings that I would have destroyed. They could have just put up more hospitals and then I would have destroyed them. But instead, they built a tunnel network and now they're alive and it's brutal. Do you think we're fucking brain dead?
So we now detonate the tunnels. The tunnels explode and they take down the buildings that are above the tunnels. And the reason you see this devastation is not because Israel is wiping out these structures filled with civilians. It's because they've been booby-trapped by Hamas, and that's the kind of warfare that we have to win.
I'm hearing you say that you deny this charge of genocide.
Totally.
That's what you're saying.
Totally.
But last week, and you referred to it a few moments ago, President Trump mentioned the word starvation. And he pretty much said it is what it is from his observation.
It's all propaganda. It's Hamas propaganda. There are no starving babies.
No, look, I think President Trump has been terrific. He's supported us in so many ways. And he understands that we have to get rid of Hamas. He understands that Hamas is also using their own interdiction tactics to prevent humanitarian aid going. So there's been shortages, no question about that. There's been also suffering. And what I intend to do, with President Trump, we talked about that and agreed upon that, is to overcome this with a humanitarian surge. So we're opening up safe routes through which aid trucks can go through. We're going to try to quadruple the distribution points that are manned by Americans. And they're doing a hell of a job.
You want to put Americans in there? Brother, your fucking maniac genocide-air IOF soldiers are going to kill us. Yeah, like I'm not even joking. I fully believe that if you put American soldiers in Gaza, the IOF will kill them. They will fire on them. Oh, and it's not the first time. I mean, you guys know the USS Liberty in 1967 when the Israelis bombed our ship and murdered like 30 plus of our soldiers and then tried to strafing run the ones in surviving rafts. They tried to eliminate us and then we forgave them after they literally murdered our soldiers. Yeah, no, like I would not be surprised if the IOF fucking fires upon even fuck our soldiers. They'll fire on our own civilians. They've already killed U.S. civilians.
Distributing food to Gazans without Hamas taking over the food. And that's really what we're doing. And airdrops that we intend to do, we're already doing. And we invite other countries to join us. So it's Israel that's doing now, and has been doing for some time, an effort to give humanitarian aid to the population without letting the Hamas terrorists take it, steal it for themselves. And
you already said that everybody in Gaza is Hamas. You have said that. You said even the children, they're all Hamas. Your defense minister said they're all animals and they must be treated as such. You said this. You believe that every single person in Gaza is Hamas. So you're saying right now that you want to starve them all to death.
At exorbitant prices.
Has President Trump given the green light for your plan to take over the remaining 25% of Gaza? And occupy all of it?
Well, you know, he understands that it's Israel who's going to do the fighting. It's not American soldiers.
Did he give you a yes?
Well, he just says, I know Israel will do what it has to do, and we haven't got into that kind
blanket
of discussion.
check.
But we have gotten into a discussion on two things. One, the humanitarian surge that we're going to do, which will precede our final military action, because I want the population to be in safe zones, to have food, water, sewage, electricity, medical help. I want to free 2 million Gazans from Hamas terrorism. The second thing that we agree on is that the day after has to have certain principles. I'm not talking about a detailed plan yet because I think that'll be developed. But the 5 principles, the key principles are these. 1, Hamas has to lay down its arms. 2, Gaza has to be demilitarized. 3, all the hostages have to be released. And 4, Israel will be responsible for overall security. So if there's an attempt to have a resurgent Hamas or resurgent terrorism, you know, we're the ones who are going to take care of it. And
so they're trying to take over Gaza before, like states like countries like Canada and France and the UK, before they can identify Palestine or officially recognize them as a state. If Israel takes over beforehand and there's nothing left, there's no Gaza, there are no Gazans, and there's no point to the entire thing. And also, if they complete the job, if they actually exterminate the Gazans, then America will never label it as a genocide. And if we never label it as a genocide, then we won't be complicit in a genocide. We won't have armed a genocide, which is that's against the rules of war. That's a violation of international law. So Trump is probably hoping that he exterminates them as fast as possible.
Let Gaza be governed by a civilian authority that is not Israel. Because I don't want to occupy Gaza forever.
Wait. What did you just say?
Governed by a civilian authority that is not Israel. Because I don't want to occupy Gaza forever. I don't want to govern Gaza. I want to have a different governance there that basically is willing to live in peace with Israel and give Gazans a different future. That's
Hamas. Brother, you're talking about a civilian-run authority. That's Hamas. That's what you did. That's like, you know how you guys literally put Hamas in power in Palestine like 20 years ago? That's what you're talking about. So you just want to repeat the cycle again. But this time, no, you can't have any revenge. You can never strike back for the hundreds of thousands of people that we killed. No, you're just going to have to move on and forget. Are you a fucking idiot? Like, does this guy actually think that he can just get rid of, I don't know, the idea of vengeance? or the idea of retaliation. Brother, you murdered hundreds of thousands of people and you expect everyone in Gaza to just turn the other cheek? Are you a fucking moron?
It's entirely different from these unbelievable lies that are leveled against us, frankly against me too, by the international press that doesn't care to check the facts. It just takes Hamas statistics, Hamas arguments. It just swallows them hook, line, and sinker.
What about all of the Israeli humanitarian groups who have charged you with genocide? Because like there's literally Israeli humanitarian groups that have charged you with genocide that have said, yeah, we're committing a genocide. That's not international, bro. That's your own fucking nation.
And
why is the volume so low? On what, me or the video?
Vilification of
I'll turn it up.
The one democracy, the one Jewish state that is fighting people massacred. It's the equivalent of the massacre of thousands and thousands of Americans, the rocketing of American cities. Nobody would stand for that.
Come back to my experience inside Gaza this week. We went to an aid distribution site, food distribution site. Your own soldiers have been accused of killing innocent Gazans who are in line for food. That's the accusation, almost on a daily basis. Can you defend that?
Yeah, I could deny it because it's a Hamas accusation.
It's a Hamas accusation. Anything that paints Israel in a bad light, it has to be Hamas. For example, the United Kingdom, that's Hamas. France, Hamas. Canada, Hamas. Everybody in Columbia University who protests for a free Palestine, Hamas. Anybody who wants a free Palestine, turns out you're Hamas.
Often we're doing the shooting and waiting for our soldiers to respond. And in fact, very often they don't respond. But all these stories are repeated ad nauseum, and the people don't even bother to check the facts. We're doing everything that we can to avoid civilian
How is anybody
casualties.
supposed to check the facts when your nation refuses to allow international journalists in? You literally refuse to allow international journalists to go into Gaza. There's only two journalists who are reporting. There are the Gazans and there are the Israelis. The Israelis are propagandists. They're all liars. The Gazan journalists have been wiped out systematically, one by one. You keep fucking murdering them. So why the fuck would anybody believe anything you have to say?
And in fact, if you look at it, I mean, the town of Rafah that you saw, you saw all that, right?
All of it.
Right, okay. So I told you why there was devastation, because we moved the population out and then went to and dealt with the booby traps that were there. Mm-hmm. And we killed a lot of terrorists there. You know how many civilians we killed there? Practically none. Why?
I was going to say, he's going to say zero. Do you know, he just said, do you know how many civilians we killed in Rafah? Don't you remember, like a couple of months back, there was a tent city in Rafah that was getting fucking firebombed. Tanks were firing and out. Like, we watched this. This is the thing, bro. I don't understand what his playbook is here, because this is all documented. It's not 1945. You can't just pretend this didn't happen. We don't have to rely on black and white still images that are printed out and could be literally burned to get rid of them. No, bro. This was live streamed in 4K, 120 frames per second. Broadcast across the entire fucking planet, dog. How does anybody think this fucking strategy of just straight up denying what I can see with my own eyes is gonna fucking work?
Because we told them, please leave. We showered them with leaflets. We called them millions of text messages and many other means to get them out, and they walked out. They walked out 2 miles to the coast where they had a safe zone, and practically no civilians were killed.
To the coast? Bro, I'm watching videos of kids being sniped while just contemplating the sea. Like, literally, I'm sure some of you have seen the same video. I watched a video yesterday of some fucking kid. He was 13 years old. He got martyred, sitting on the fucking beach, just looking out in the water, and he got sniped through the heart. A 13-year-old kid. Oh, they went to the coast and it's safe there. It's not safe anywhere where you fucking monster men are.
That nobody describes, nobody talks about. Israel is doing things that no army in history has done.
Actually, no, Israel is doing things that one other army in history has done. The fucking Wehrmacht. The goddamn Nazis. That's what you're doing.
Colonel John Spencer, who's the head of urban warfare studies at West Point, He said that he scoured all of his modern history. He said no army in the world has done that. And yet Israel is, of course, accused again and again.
Yeah, no,
and again,
Chatter's got a good point.
by fake
You want to know why we know this is fucked up? Because I see footage of the Gazans, and you know what I don't see? Vermin. I don't see rats around. You want to know why? Because there's not even any food for the fucking rats, dog. In war zones, there is vermin, and there's none of them in Gaza. We see all the footage. There ain't no rats, there ain't no dogs, there ain't no cats, there ain't no animals looking for food, because there's no fucking food, bro.
Reports by Hamas statistics that are fake. And, you know, if you repeat a lie often enough, it assumes the cachet of self-evident truth. It's still a lie.
Yeah, your chief of army says your military is exhausted. It's almost 2 years of war. And I mentioned 20 years ago this month, Ariel Sharon made the decision to get out of Gaza, bring the settlers out, and it's been that way ever since, and Hamas moved in. But you have 10 million people who live in this country.
That's right.
And they have a lot of opinions.
Yeah, well,
is it possible?
It's a democracy, you know.
Is it possible for you to keep Israel unified almost 2 years into this war?
Yes,
I'm sure.
Absolutely. The Israelis are such propaganda consumers. Most of them are incapable of thinking for themselves. And we know this because there have been polls about the genocide in Gaza, and somewhere between 70 and 90% of Israelis don't think that they've gone hard enough. They think that they need to escalate the violence on the Gazans. The Israelis live in a different world. Okay, they don't see the footage you see. They have completely different media. There's no international journalists allowed in. It is a fucking nightmare. They don't know what they don't even, here's the thing, most of them are aware of the genocide being committed, but they support it. And then there's an overwhelming majority of them who think that the world is on their side because they don't see the criticism.
We can. I mean, there's an organized and systemic campaign against us. That's part of democracy. I accept it, although a lot of it is foreign funded by the same people who also encourage the demonstrations on your campuses and so on. But I'll tell you one thing, the people are united. Not every last one. This is not a dictatorship. But, you know, when it's a seven front war, and look at what we did. You know, we were attacked. We were on the verge. Everybody thought this is the end of Israel on October 7th. When Hamas cruelly invaded us and those monsters took the hostages and murdered the
do you mean when you enacted the Hannibal Protocol, the Hannibal Directive, and for 6 hours, your fucking nation, the size of New Jersey, didn't send one squad, one helicopter, one special forces team for 6 hours? You bombed your own people and allowed your own fucking people to be raped and murdered so you could finally have a reason to hit the fucking Gazans with the final solution. We're not stupid, bro. Your nation was capable of bombing Iran, sending missiles over entire nations to go hit Iran, and you expect us to believe that for 6 fucking hours you were incapable of responding to a terror attack? Dumb fuck. Do you think we're all as stupid as your fucking population?
And then raped the women and beheaded, it's beyond belief, and burned babies, okay? And everybody said, oh, Israel is gone. And I said on the second day of the war, I said, we're going to change the face of the Middle East. And we went against Hamas, then we went against Hezbollah, the terror proxies of Iran. Then we had the downfall of the murderous Assad regime in Syria. And then we went after Iran, and President Trump joined us, which was a magnificent act of solidarity against a common enemy. Everybody said, oh, well, you know, Israel's not going to be together, but it is. Now we have to complete the job of eliminating basically the last proxy of Iran that's still standing.
And this is your job to sell it to.
The last proxy? Brother, you still have to deal with fucking Hezbollah and the Houthis. And then you're going to have to deal with the future Palestinian resistance. Do you think that this problem is just going to go away? Oh, my God.
Your people.
Well, I don't have to. Believe me, the people are selling it to me. You know, I go into Gaza as you went in. You've been to Rafah? I've been to Rafah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Talk to the soldiers. Talk to the division commanders. You know what they tell me? They tell me, Prime Minister, don't bother with the press. Just press on with the mission of liberating Gaza from these murderers, and we can do the job.
Liberating Gaza. while people are just starving to death and infants are dying of starvation. No. He's just liberating Gaza. He's just a great liberator.
We can separate the civilians from the combatants. We can eliminate Hamas. We can liberate the remaining hostages. Let us do the job. That's what the soldiers that cut across Israeli society are telling us. Doesn't mean that they make it to the mainstream channels. Doesn't mean that they make it to the foreign press. In fact, they don't. But if I had to run the country based on these vilifications, I shouldn't be here. Because leaders should do what is right and what will withstand the test of time. And what will withstand the test of time is
test of time, brother. Holy shit, you're delusional. You are gonna be remembered as second Hitler. And I'm not even being facetious here. You're going to be remembered alongside Hitler. It's gonna be Hitler and then Netanyahu, which is going to be incredibly ironic, and it's going to be great to teach about because Hitler committed a genocide against the Jews, and then the Jews were seemingly so traumatized by this genocide that they lived in a permanent state of fear and ended up enacting a genocide on their neighbors in the name of preemptive strikes. It's going to go down as the most ironic genocide ever fucking committed.
Hour of peril. Israel didn't slumber like other democracies often do. In the face of this challenge to our existence, we took on a seven-front war, won it, and secured the peace, and expanded the peace after this victory, expanding the Abraham Accords, creating a different Middle East. That's what we're in the process of doing. The last part is hard, but it's doable, and we'll do it.
Let me come back to the Abraham Accords, because the president made news on that earlier today. In America, there has been a considerable rise in anti-Semitism,
here it comes,
especially on American college campuses.
Yeah.
How did Israel, especially for Americans under the age of 30, young Americans, how did Israel lose this argument?
All right, ready? He's going to blame Hamas. He's going to blame Islam. He's going to blame social media. He's going to blame liberalism. He's going to blame socialism. He may even bring up Zoran fucking Mamdani's name.
Or maybe the better question would be, how do you win them back?
Well, I think we will. First of all, you win by winning and shortening the war. And President Trump has given us the support to finish this war as quickly as possible. Of course, we have to contend with the campaign of vilification that is done by so-called reputable news media. I mean, the New York Times puts out a major story on the front page.
Oh my God, he's going to talk about the baby. He's going to talk about a baby who got an illness because its mother had malnutrition while pregnant, right? And this baby was born with a rare illness that makes it like malnourished, right? All because its mother didn't have enough food when she was pregnant. He's about to say that this is not the fault of Israel.
Palestinian mother holding a child, starved supposedly, and then it turns out that that child has cerebral palsy. It's a congenital disease. He has a brother who's well-fed.
Lies.
Family is well-fed. But it's put out this thing, and then it corrects it with a denial the size of a postage stamp buried in the back pages. No. We can't work by lies. How do we
I have a question though. Sure. What about the rest of them? What about the rest of the starving babies? Are we just gonna focus on the fucking one?
Eventually the truth gets out. It takes time. People will see the humanitarian surge. People will see our efforts to prevent civilian casualties. People will compare what has happened here to other urban warfare sites that were not nearly as dense, as difficult, without this, 50 meters below ground, these terror tunnels, and yet Israel will triumph, will succeed in this mission. And most of the people, I can't say 100% of the people, but most of the people are united, and ultimately, this is democracy.
So instead of shifting that argument on the media, whether it's the New York Times or maybe the Gazan Health Ministry, putting out, because you've said repeatedly in this conversation.
The Gazan Health Ministry is Hamas. You can't trust anything. He's going to say, you can't trust anything that comes out of the Gazan Health Ministry because that is Hamas propaganda.
Exaggerate. Will you allow more independent reporters to go into Gaza
no international
and see it for themselves?
That's my conclusion. In fact, that's my instruction as of this morning to the military. And I said, that's exactly what you should be doing. Those who are lying are going to continue lying. But give honest journalists the
His
ability
ears are
to see.
gigantic. That's because he's a lot like Pinocchio, except it's not his nose, it's his ears. Every lie he takes, it grows by 1/4 of a centimeter.
The truth, A, the fact that we're trying to get civilian aid, humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza, the efforts
Lie.
that we're making there. B, to understand and explain why those buildings are destroyed because
you
they're
blew
booby
them up.
trapped. And
No,
we
it's 'cause you blew
clear
them
the
up.
population.
Lie.
And I'm glad you were in. I'm glad you did this thing. I'm glad, in fact, I would say you were blazing the trail. But there have been others, and we have the same result. Every time people see it, they see it in a more realistic way, in a more honest way.
That's because when journalists go to Israel, the ones who get permission to actually report on this stuff, like Fox News, you put them on a propaganda tour. Like it's like a specific route where they don't see anything that would make you look bad. And you have well-organized propaganda, perfectly choreographed stunts that, like, brother, do you think we're fucking stupid? I know I've asked this over and over again.
Than the way that it's presented in, unfortunately, in the New York Times and others. New York Times should be sued. I'm actually
That's for Donald Trump. He's going to say, Donald Trump, sue the New York Times.
looking at whether a country can sue the New York Times, and I'm looking into it right now because I think it's such.
Thank you for becoming a member for 3 months. I'm tired of these monsters getting airtime while being actively blown by the reporter, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad!
Clear defamation. I mean, you put a picture of a child that's supposed to then represent all these supposedly starving children, yet they...
Supposedly starving children. Brother, I hope you... Listen, I know that Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't actually believe in Judaism. I know he's not a practicing Jew, but like, whether... I don't know what afterlife you believe in, brother, but whichever one you think it is, you're going to the negated version of that. Like, if there's heaven, you're going to anti-heaven. I believe that's called hell. My guy, you are so fucking evil, it's unbelievable.
Put in this picture of a child.
Meanwhile, there's a picture of him and his fucking family. Just a happy old man. Just like, dude, in another fucking dimension, he's just some fucking dude probably farming on some fucking land. Like, and then in this one, he's a goddamn modern embodiment of Adolf fucking Hitler.
Has cerebral palsy. Then they took another picture somewhere else in other media. A child who had cystic fibrosis, got nothing to do with starvation. Or another child that we actually sent to Italy to be cured, and Israel is accused.
But still, you concede there is suffering on behalf of
there is
people
suffering
in Gaza.
Yes, because Hamas.
Dude, the reporter's got to rein him back in. Reporter's got to be like, yo, man, hold on. We can see them starving. You're going a little bit too far here. Like, you got to bring it back. Thank you for becoming a member for 1 month, Lizard. Like, dude, what the fuck, bro?
Interdicting aid, exactly. And what we're doing is overcoming it. I don't deny that there's suffering. I want to end the suffering.
You do deny it. You just said supposed starving children. That's literally denial. You're saying that you don't believe it. It's alleged. It's supposed bullshit.
I want to end it by ending Hamas rule. Would you like to be governed by 20,000 armed monsters who shoot you in the back of the head if you try to leave a war zone?
No, that's why I didn't move to Israel.
Who shoot you if you say, I want to have my freedom from Hamas. We now have Gazans fighting Hamas. They finally have the courage.
You're talking about the gangs that you're funding. You are funding the gangs to steal the food and to fight Hamas within Palestine. This is so fucked up.
To do that because they see that Israel is progressing and they think that we're going to win. So they're not afraid anymore to stand up for their own rights.
Of course you were going to win. Nobody ever thought that Hamas was going to be able... This is David and Goliath. Nobody ever thought that the guys with bathtub rockets and fucking slingshots was going to beat the nuclear-armed nation. It was about holding the line long enough for the fucking international community to recognize that you're committing a genocide. But instead, as soon as the international community recognized you're committing a genocide, you fucking cranked up the dial and said, well, what if I just finish them off as fast as possible? And then, like, once the ash settles and the embers stop smoldering, maybe people will forget that the Gazans ever fucking existed. Dude, you're such a piece of shit, bro.
Separate schools, they have separate programs, because they don't want to educate their children for endless fanatic warfare, which is what Hamas is teaching.
You've bombed every single school in Gaza. They don't have an education system, bro. Meanwhile, there are literal children's stories in Israel read to small children called Under the Rocket's Glow about their religious promise and why they have to bomb Gaza because God promised them the land 3,000 years ago. Yeah, well, God promised me your ass 10 minutes ago. So suck my fucking dick and get on your knees.
Hamas is saying death to Israel, death to America. They hate everything that a free society stands for. And ultimately, the people of Israel understand it. And I think ultimately, the free peoples of the world will understand it.
I have one more question, but I want to clarify something if I could.
Sure.
You've said a few times now that the buildings in Rafah that we saw had tunnels underneath them.
Yeah.
There's no way for us to see that when we're there physically with our own eyes, but you're...
Yes, there is. LiDAR. Brother, holy fuck, it's 2025. You can find out if there's a tunnel underneath you. You stupid fuck.
Saying all these buildings were booby-trapped?
All.
And they were not hit by the Israeli Air Force?
No, what I'm saying is
because
that
it is building after building.
Oh, he can't even deny it. I don't think he's going to be able to deny that the Israeli Air Force bombed them.
Remember, these houses are emptied of population. In the beginning...
Hey, guys, you know the house that you grew up in? Your beautiful house, the one that you love, and it has all those memories? What if, like, you had to go because, like, there was, like, an evacuation order, and then the United States military just bombed your fucking house, and all of your memories, all of it, and they go, and your dog, too, fuck your dog. And they go, oh, well, there's nobody in the house. There's no people in the house, just a fucking dog. What the fuck, dude?
The war, I remember my visit to Washington. And I was told...
yeah, and also, Chatter pointed out, and I should clarify, these houses are not empty. There just happen to be bodies underneath the rubble. Hamas is taking bodies, and they're putting it in the rubble of the houses. They're breaking their bones to make it look like they were in the houses when they were bombed. Succhiamo il cazzo, puttana.
The previous administration, they said, there are 1.4 million people in Gaza, in Rafah, because we moved the population away from war zones. And they all concentrated in Rafah. Then we wanted to eliminate Rafah. It's like, we were told, don't go in there. And I said, what do you mean, don't go in there? It's like the Allies are, take over Germany. And finally, they're told, don't go into Berlin.
You're Berlin. You're not the Allies.
Don't go into Berlin and leave the German army, 25% of the German army intact. I said, of course I have to go in. But they said, but there are all these civilians.
Rafah's flat. Yeah, brother. His claim is that every single house in Rafah had booby traps in it, and that that Hamas blew up all the houses on their own, and it wasn't the Israelis. That's literally what he just said. You got here a little bit late.
Make sure that they leave. In fact, they left within 6 days. They all left. And then we had to go in. It's full of terrorists in those buildings. In the streets, they booby-trap the streets, they booby-trap the buildings. So we go in and clear it away. And that's what you would do. That's actually, that's what you did. That's what you did in your war zones, too.
The reason why this point is important for me to understand is we only saw one part of Gaza. We did not see the rest of it, the town of Rafah, as I referred. Last question, sir, if I could, please. The president earlier today put on Truth Social that he wants.
Dude, this guy goes, no, that's cap. There's operations to flatten it with D9s. Bro, that's somebody in the IDF who's like, yeah, no, Netanyahu's lying. We're blowing that shit up. What the fuck?
All the Middle Eastern countries that joined the Abraham Accords. Who are the holdouts?
Well, you know who we have peace with. So if you look at the other countries, they're the ones that are potential and real potential candidates for this. And I think, look, the president and I joined forces with Arab leaders and had the Abraham Accords, which were historic changes, a real change in the Middle East. We had 4 peace treaties with 4 Arab nations in a very short time.
You guys remember when there was a 2-state solution proposed by Bill Clinton, and then Monica Lewinsky blowjob happened, and then Benjamin Netanyahu called Bill Clinton and said, hey, just so you know, here's my list of demands. And Bill Clinton was like, what are you talking about, list of demands? And Benjamin Netanyahu was like, yeah, I've had your phone tapped. I have all of the audio recordings of your phone sex with Melania. Sorry, not Melania, with Monica. Melania comes in 20 years. She's the DLC update once you're gone. but yeah, no, we have the audio files of all of your phone sex with Monica Lewinsky, and you're going to terminate the entire two-state solution, otherwise we're going to drop it. And that's verbatim what happened. Verbatim, verified.
And in fact, I think that the attack on October 7th, among other things, it was meant to destroy Israel, but it was also meant to destroy the possibility of peace between Israel and the leading Arab country, Saudi Arabia. So obviously we like to see, with the elimination of Hamas and the Iran terror axis, which has been our war. Our war the last 2 years has not been with Hamas only, it's been with Iran and all its terror proxies and its attempts to develop nuclear weapons.
Other than Iran, who would be a party to this deal?
Well, Iran could be too if the people of Iran rise.
Is that an invitation?
If the people of Iran rise up, just blatantly talking about regime change. Hey, listen, I'm not saying that the people of Iran should rise up and kill their leader and overthrow the government, but... brother, any fucking world leader says that about another nation, and there's like international coverage. Or like, the leader of X says that the people of Y should fucking rise up and take over the government.
It's been something that I think many of them want. Many of them want to relieve themselves of that tyranny. And they openly said...
bro, many of them want to relieve themselves of Israeli tyranny. Because guess what? The Iranian government isn't bombing the Iranian people. You are.
You know, I send videos to them, and I'm amazed. Bill, I'm amazed. Millions and millions.
This is my head of state, by the way. Brother, don't feel bad. My head of state is King Doland.
Respondents from Iran, sometimes with their names and even their faces. You can't believe that they're doing that, but it shows you the thirst for liberation there. So, but if the liberation of Iran will happen because we delivered a very strong blow to Iran's seeming invincibility, and the people will rise from within. But who are the countries that we know we could make peace with once we finish the war in Gaza? Yeah. I think there are at least 5 or 6 countries here in the Middle East. And President Trump and I have talked about it a great deal. And he's been just an unbelievable partner.
When'd you talk to him last?
No one rising against something they don't want. No one is rising against something they want. Yes, that's exactly why the Israelis refuse to rise up against their leadership. And that's why I say, listen, man, the majority of the Israelis genuinely support this genocide. If they didn't, they would have fucking done something about it already. Plus, they've been already polled on this. I understand that you aren't in support of this genocide, but the majority of your fellow countrymen are.
Okay, so this week.
No, I think it was last week. I think, but we talk every week or so.
You talked to Vladimir Putin recently.
Yes,
a couple times.
Yeah.
Of course you fucking did, bro. Two fucking dude. You, Putin, and Trump are just buddy, ain't you?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
Well, I can tell you what I told him. I said that I took note of the fact that he said that Iran should not have nuclear enrichment, which is the American position, and our position. I thought that was very good. And I also said that I hoped that he'd come to...
Thank you for the $5. Joining the stream late. Sorry for the beginning. This interview is infuriating. The guy's ability to lie so effortlessly is truly scary. This is what happens when you're raised in Israel. You become a professional liar.
In agreement with President Trump.
On Ukraine.
Right.
We'll see if we get that peace.
Yeah, especially considering you're not including Zelensky in these negotiations. How do you expect to find peace with Ukraine if you're not going to invite the fucking leader of Ukraine, you stupid fucking idiots?
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So far as we can...
All right, well, he got a free propaganda hit. I really do need to check the comments on this. We got to see how Fox News' people are reacting to this. Oh, no. The schools also need to be teaching peace, not hate, because it's the best way forward in the region. No. Never again is now. No, dude. Fox, they're falling for it. We are freeing Gaza from Hamas. They're literally falling for it. Oh, there's someone. Then let in the international journalists. Yeah, they're not going to. Let's see the replies to this one. They did. Incorrect. And they lied. They report their own interpretation of the truth. Should have been conducted in The Hague. Yes. How is the killer not in jail? Yes. Wow. I would believe a sleazy car salesman before I believed this goblin. Dude, calling Netanyahu a goblin is so funny, and it's so fucking accurate. All right, listen, if you're here live, you stay. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning into the Valenti VOD. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to support free and real independent media, then donate some money to the channel. There's numerous ways to do it. You should know all of them by now. And one last thing, click that video over there. It's a banger, and I know bangers.